Hey, everybody, welcome to KISS.
Keep it simple, sister.
Howdy, Diana.
Howdy, Samantha.
I know how you're feeling.
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling fine.
So, y'all hear us bring up every once in a while about the various supplements that we like to use that give us pep in our day. And dear Diana may have taken an extra supplement,
Allegedly.
allegedly. So
Possibly.
we,
Possibly. I'm not sure, but I'm kind of feeling a little bit spunky. So we'll see how this goes.
This should be fun. Okay.
Good.
Welcome to the KISS podcast. This is all about feeling great by feeling better. What we're doing is we're sharing the incremental steps that Diana and I take throughout our day to have us feeling amazing. And some of the times it's a supplement, but usually it's paying attention to our vibe, how good we're feeling, where our mindset is. If we're keeping ourselves in a positive state of mind so that when something negative, contrasty comes along, we can bump ourselves back up and, like experience it, go through it, and then move ourselves up into that better space. So, this is all about us sharing the tips, tricks, techniques, and the products that help us to do all of this. So, it's pretty cool stuff that we love sharing with y'all.
We hope you enjoyed as much as we do because, we would just be sitting, let's say, shooting the shit. We would talk. Samantha likes to call it riffing. I like to call it shooting the shit. So we're kind so we have a conversation usually, and we're just letting you guys in on our conversation mostly.
Exactly. So, yeah, just grab a cup of tea, glass of wine, um, bottle of beer, fifth of gin. I don't know. Whatever
Slurpee,
feels good to you.
whatever.
Yeah, and join in the conversation. Feel free to comment below as we're talking along, and we'll go back and look at it and comment back. So,
Totally.
ready for this ride?
Uh, get ready because I don't know. So should we start with the flip side?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we always start with the flip side, and the flip side is when we pay attention to something that happened that was not, most people would think of it as negative or kind of not so hot or providing a little contrast, a little bit of ick in your day, in your life, and how we take those situations and we try and either find something good in it
Mhm.
or a lesson learned that we can use so that we don't repeat that kind of thing again. And so I'm going to start with my flip side. So my flip side, I've been talking a lot about my husband and his uh, medical issues and whatever. So
There's
the
a
most
lot of
recent,
flip sides to that.
yeah, there's a lot of flip sides, and it's mostly what goes on every day that I kind of have to flip as much as possible, as much as possible and as quickly as possible, so
Mhm.
that I can keep moving through my day with a high vibe. So my husband has been experiencing
Mhm.
some Parkinson's like symptoms, and we have some medicine, so that's kind of helping. But I'm down the road planner kind of girl. Like I need to have a plan. And so part of my plan, even when before the Parkinson's stuff, was what can I do to help
Mhm.
get me some sort of backup support. Right now I have my daughter living with me, but she's going to move out. And like where will we go from here if things kind of go downhill a little bit?
Yeah.
I'm not available for it, so I don't think it's going to happen. Which is another flip side all on itself, not being available for things. But I had looked into an independent living situation. So it's it's a community where you can live in a house or you can live in a townhouse or you can live in an apartment, and it also on the campus has memory care, rehab, hospital kind of stuff all within one place, and a lot of support where you can hire someone to come in and help with things or that
Mhm.
kind of stuff, which would allow for Wedge to have have independence that he hasn't had in a while because he can't drive.
Yeah.
So he was all fire against it. He didn't want to sell our house. He didn't want to do any of it. So I went and kind of talked out the ins and outs of it with a new friend that I made there. But I was on my way home, and I was really sad. Like I was crying, and I don't cry all that often. I should let myself cry more than I do. But I was crying about how Wedge would feel about moving because really, he just really didn't want to go. So I was very sad. I was really, kind of upset. And I called my daughter and I was telling her, how distraught I was over the fact that this would be the best thing for us. And I really wanted him to get on board because I can make the decision, but it needs to be a joint decision. And he needs to understand that not only will this be helpful for him, but it would really be helpful for me too.
Yeah.
So, um, and I was wallowing in it a little bit, like I was just really sad, and it's been kind of a buildup for weeks and weeks and weeks, even the last 2 years, really. Um, so then she and I made a plan that we would take him to the community center part of this community for lunch, and so we took him there, and he fell in love with the place. So the flip side was take a s I learned,
Mm.
just take a step. Just take a step, and at that point, I didn't know whether he was gonna be as excited about it as I am, but now
Yeah.
every day, he is like, "Okay, and then we can do this, and then we can do that, and then, when we go, can we do this and that?" And what so exciting.
Like it's like his life is expanded and he's looking towards the future now.
And I could see all of that, but he wasn't seeing it. He had to experience it, I
Yeah,
think.
and that makes sense because it's we always have fear of the unknown.
Exactly. And so for me, I research, and he always makes fun of me, like out of nowhere, I buy a car. Well, it's not out of nowhere. I've been looking into things for a long time. It's out of nowhere for him because he hasn't done all the research and he hasn't. So this move to this place, I've been doing a lot of research. Samantha and I even were talking about, places near her. And this has been going on for months and months and months.
Yeah,
We've been trying to figure out like what would be the best way to handle this whole situation. And for me, there are older people there. I think you have to be 65 to to live there. Or I'm 59, as long as he's over 65 and I'm over 55, we're allowed to do it. But in my mind, I was thinking, this is a lot of people, elderly people that don't really want to be active. And, will I be the youngest person there? Do I really want to put myself, is that a situation that would be what's best for me?
yeah, that's a tough
But
one.
it is. It's
Yeah,
going to be just as beneficial for me as it is for him. So it's exciting. So
and
that's my
down the
flip
road,
side.
you'll benefit from it too, like, not just the freedom, but
But the
you have
support.
this yeah, the support and services as well, and your kids don't have to worry about you.
And
Like,
that's huge. That was the other reason why I was crying because, I didn't want him. I was trying to figure out a way to convince him that this is would be what's best for the whole family,
yeah,
not just him, but he came to that on his own, which was really exciting.
I am so happy for you guys.
Yeah,
That
me
is
too.
so cool.
It's
Yeah,
huge. And
yay.
where I'm moving, I have to we were choosing between 2 different house styles, and one is set up better for my podcasting. So as you like, one of them didn't have an office and the other one did. So we decided to go with the one with the office so that I can continue to podcast and do
Well,
the
and I
things
kept
that
making
that
sure
make
there
me
was
happy.
space for me. I'm like,
Of
"No,
course.
you can't use that second bedroom as the podcasting place because that's or your office because that's where I'm gonna come visit and stay."
Exactly, exactly. I mean, I have 2
And your
children,
kids, yes.
but Samantha really takes priority
I was
over the
staking
worry
my
for that.
claim.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. Well, I have a few other friends that might wanna visit too, so I think that that was good for
okay.
you and a lot of other people.
Fair enough, fair enough.
So what's your flip side?
Okay, so my flip side, is actually well, I got to ride along on this one. So this is having to do with my son. So we're gonna talk about turkey. So, turkey the country, not the food or the animal.
Gobble,
Um,
gobble.
so, my son has, he's an avid researcher and, just he's been considering, like, he's got well, we've watched several documentaries and just different things about historical stuff about how important turkey was in the like the Middle Ages and stuff, and just how it's kind of like the crossroads of like the known world kind of thing. And
Mhm.
um so it's always been really fascinating to kind of follow him along on those things. Well, he's gotten to the point where he really now wants to go visit, and we've told him we really would like him to go visit, but that now is probably not the best time, but who knows when it's a good time, you know? And
Right.
there's tourists going over there all the time, but maybe right now is not the best time. But anyway, so he's been, you know, like he feels like he missed his window to be able to go this past winter. And he's just like he's still saving up for it, but he doesn't have anyone to go with, all this other kind of stuff. And so he's continued his research, and then, my husband was going out of town, he's out of town right now, and my son, um before my husband left, my son pulled me aside, he's like, "You know, I can't go to Turkey, but I can bring some of Turkey to me." You know, he's like, "I can get to know what their food's like. I can, you know, try various things out, you know, and their ideology and that kind of stuff."
Well,
And
and a lot of travel is all about that.
yeah,
That
exactly.
helps with the experience, right?
Uh-huh. And so he had come across a dish that was very popular called Sultan's Delight, which I'm thinking Turkish delight. Like I'm thinking that's
Like candy, right?
yeah, that's a candy. And he's going, no, no,
Uh-huh.
no, this is Sultan's Delight. And apparently it's historical as Josephine Napoleon's favorite dish to make. And, you know, so you know, she learned when she went to Turkey how to make it and then became her thing. And so it's got history to it. Um, and he's like, you know, can we find like there's lamb in it and there's not squash, but it's eggplant.
Eggplant.
I am not an eggplant eater. And my son had never had lamb, and I was just like, "Yeah, let's go for it. Let's do it. We'll do this when your dad goes out of town." So last night we we went out and we always go to the Crowbar where we can get wine and walk around the store and shop for our food while we drink the wine. Um,
Okay, so the Crowbar is a grocery store that
Kroger,
has Kroger, that has a bar in it, and you can drink and shop, or just drink and drink. It doesn't matter.
drink and drink works just as well. I mean, because we have gone there just to drink, and that works just as well.
Well,
But
I think that's brilliant marketing too, because like if I wanted, and I'll buy more if I'm drinking, I'm pretty sure. So it probably affects their sales.
mhm. Well, I think so because I was going as support and I knew I needed to get one thing and I ended up getting $79 worth of stuff.
Kind of like when I go to Target. I
And
understand.
that happened from a $5 glass of wine.
Of
Really
course.
good wine. Counts, so you'll have more than one, but I only had one and I still spent almost 80 bucks.
Okay.
So anyway, we pick up all the ingredients and you know, then we proceed into this whole thing of like learning how to char eggplant on the grill, and Brody turns the grill on and all of a sudden it's blown up like they're flames this tall, and we're just going, oh my god. And he's like, yeah, the you know the propane tank's underneath, I'm scared this is gonna, I'm like, it became this thing. And I'm telling you the experience, but you know, the flip side was he couldn't go to Turkey, but here he was bringing Turkey to him. And because
Uh-huh.
he was doing that, we got to have this whole experience. So like he
A
gets on,
fire.
yeah, he's talking to his dad. What do I do? Because like the flames are going up and we have eaves that come out, you know, and it's just like, and it turns out something had fallen in there and was burning up or whatever. So we had to wait for that to kind of do its thing before we could then char the eggplant. So we learned how to char the eggplant. We learned how to make a roux. So we made bechamel sauce, which he says, no, it's like bechamel if we're in Turkey, you know, I'm like, I have no idea.
Oh, all right. Go
Um,
ahead.
but it's where you do the roux, like, you know, flour and
Water?
stock or water, yeah.
Oh,
Butter,
butter.
no, flour and butter. And
Yeah.
then you put the stock in and it builds up, and then you put the cheese in. And like I'm looking at going 2 ounces of cheese is not enough. Oh my God, it was so amazing.
And that's how you start homemade macaroni and cheese, I understand too. I've never done that,
Well,
but
that
bechamel sauce is how you start macaroni and cheese,
so
which
that's
I would eat.
Brody doing Brody doing the can you see it?
Go back a little bit.
The
Yeah,
bechamel
you can see the
sauce.
bechamel. Yeah, bechamel. Little, little. That's hard to
I think
say.
it's French. Um, and then we go through the whole process and oh shoot, you can't see. But like,
Oh, yeah, you kind of can.
yeah, I just wanted to show him like so what was cool
He's
about
kind of a chef. I mean, he's not really a chef, but he has chef tendencies for sure.
yeah, he has that artistic flair.
Yeah,
But it was really cool to see him learn how to like to take the initiative to, cook this on the grill the way that they say to do it, char it, then put it in water, let it get cold. Like there's so many steps that occur. And so like, and I have a chance to teach him, like, he's like, well, do we put just this exact amount or this? And I'm like, well, when you're doing basic cooking, like, when you're just coming up with a recipe, you can kind of substitute and throw stuff in and change it accordingly. But like when you're doing baking's
that's chemistry.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
a whole other thing. And so it was really fun to kind of play around with it and learn the different ins and outs and everything. And that was all because of his fascination with turkey and then just deciding, okay, bummer, I can't go. This isn't working out. But here's the flip side. I can at least do this. So that was
Yeah,
really
that's cool. That's
and it,
really
and it
cool.
was
I like it.
delicious.
I
It was
I'm gonna
absolutely
take your word for that.
yeah. Diana wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole, and I knew that, most people wouldn't, but it was really good.
So I'm not a very adventurous eater.
It's okay. You don't have to be. We're gonna move into our sponsorship now. Ready? We can't keep bringing you these uplifting, insightful tips, tricks, and techniques on how to navigate your life to a healthier, happier way of living without the help from our sponsors.
Us.
Moringa is renowned. Okay, so we're talking about moringa. We're talking about the moringa with collagen, right?
No, we can talk about moringa first, which is what
Okay,
we've been talking about, and then I'll handle the collagen. You just handle you.
cool. So moringa is renowned for its numerous health benefits. Just one little pack has oodles of nutrients, making it a superfood. Honestly, it has almost all the stuff. Moringa has been touting its health benefits for almost 3,000 years. And it does everything from boosting immunity and improving gut health to rocking antioxidants. It's green. So like it's you would think that, that you wouldn't like it, but it's the ultimate green juice. They say bye-bye to sluggish vibes and hello to a moringa powered zest of for life. Like it is really amazing, tasty stuff. Go for it,
Definitely.
Diana. What do you want to tell us about it today?
Okay, well, this is kind of a segue from when I was just talking about how I wouldn't eat lamb and
Exciting.
eggplant. So I'm not an adventurous eater, and anything that tastes the least little bit bitter, and many vegetables are like that,
Yeah.
are not appealing to me. So I knew that I needed to get some kind of vitamins, nutrients, minerals, aminos, all that kind of stuff into my diet,
Mhm.
but I didn't want it to taste gross. So when I tried the Morvita Moringa dietary supplement, I kind of expected it to taste kind of yucky because it's green, but
Yeah.
it tastes delicious. It tastes like tropical fruit. And then I did a little bit, it helps with so many things, you guys. I could sit here for like 7 hours and tell you. But the one I want to talk about today is that it has vitamins for your skin and it improves your skin's moisture, cracking and drying. It
Mhm.
boosts collagen production, it gets rid of toxins and it's natural antioxidants, which Samantha just mentioned. There's another, and this is Life Activated Brands, Morvita. So
Mhm.
this is our most favorite. But here's a second favorite. This is Moringa Plus Collagen Boost. So it has some of the Morvita,
Can't
the
see it.
Moringa.
There we
You can't see it. Is that good?
Mhm.
It has moringa in it, but it also has collagen in it. And Samantha is more into health stuff than I am. So I really wasn't a big collagen person, but I did notice that as I've been getting older, my skin has getting a little bit crepey, getting a little bit, not as
Cheers.
supple as it used to be. Um, so I started eating this stuff. It's weird. It's kind of like
Yes.
it's kind
Chocolate.
of like pudding in here. It's like gushy, mushy gushy.
Uh-huh.
But it's a what's the flavor?
Mango?
Mango flavored.
Yeah.
I don't like the I'm a big texture person. I don't like the consistency of it that much, but I freeze it and I eat it like a popsicle.
Mhm.
Tastes delicious, and it's helping my bones and my skin and my all of the things that collagen helps.
Wow.
So,
That's huge.
yeah. And
Yeah.
it's some good stuff. Like I'm all about the taste and it tastes good.
Yeah. So that's 2 really cool products, and Life Activated Brands has so much more to offer. It's just like once you try these, it's like then you want to try the next. I mean, it's like the proof is right there. Like I've never had stuff where you feel it right away.
Yeah,
So once you start into one, then you're into the next, then you're into the next, and it just makes such a huge difference. So if any of this you find intriguing, resonates with you, you've been searching for something like this, the links down below and it'll take you over to the site where you can either shop for it right then. There's a 30-day money back guarantee, so it's kind of like it's a brainless thing. Why not try it?
yeah, no
And you'll
brainer.
also be able to get more information as well to show you like all the different numerous benefits from it and everything. So
Definitely. Love it.
cool. So do it. All right,
Yes.
we're jumping into the positive path.
Yes.
All right. And the positive path today, which I love how like Diana keeps talking about glimmer. There's glimmers. And I'm like going, glimmer. And she goes, yes, glimmer. Don't you know what glimmer is? And so, we're talking about glimmers are kind of like the little bits of good stuff in the day. And I'm going to let Diana take it from here. What is it you most want to share with people about glimmers, what they are, and
So I never really knew this term glimmer, but I think I naturally do this. I kind of look for goodness, like in every situation. I'm kind of trying to figure out what what kind of jumps out at me. Like, that's cool. That's
Mhm,
interesting. That's and I think part of it is my half full personality. I've always, tried to look at the glass half full, but I make a concerted effort to look for goodness. And the goodness is the glimmers are the good stuff, the good things.
yeah.
I have this I don't know if you can see it or read it, but it says toss kindness around like confetti.
Oh, I love
And
that.
I have that hanging in my office and I look at it all the time because that's really what I try and do. I try and make people's day a little bit brighter if I can. Now, it's ridiculously embarrassing for my children, always has been. They're like, "Mom, mom." Now they're 29 and 25, so they kind of get it. They understand a little bit more. But why be I want to say schlep rock? Do you remember that from the Flintstones?
Oh,
He was
yes.
the negative guy, or
Yeah,
Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh.
I totally forgot about him.
Nobody has time for that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Why? Why? And so, when I go through the checkout line, they always say, "Hey, did you find everything you like?" Yes, and so much more. That's what I always say. So I try and be the glimmer. I mean, sometimes it's over the top and sometimes it's a little ridiculous. But I remember working in retail and how boring that could be
Mhm.
checking people out. It was just so nice when I would have a conversation with someone and end up smiling because of it, because the rest of the day was kind of boring. And sometimes people are downright mean to the retail people, and that's unacceptable in my book.
Do you notice how many times, like and I try to make an effort of this now, but how many times people don't even make eye contact with the person that's checking them out? And, like, I make an effort, like, I've been down, I'm like, "How are you doing today?" Like,
Yeah,
and it's
I do
not
the
that I'm
same
trying to
thing.
pry, it's but I want them to see, "I'm human, you're human, I see you. You
Exactly.
matter."
Well, and a lot of times they'll say like, "Did you find everything you want?" or something like that, or just some introductory something.
Mhm.
But if they're looking in the other direction, I always say, "How's your day going?" And if they want schlep rocket, I'm like, "I know, but it's beautiful outside. When you have your break, you're gonna feel so much better.
I
Step outside. If you think you're just gonna, if you're just gonna go to the break room or whatever, take a minute and go outside because
so
it'll
okay,
light you up."
we're talking retail, so this just popped in my head, I have to share this. So I think I was with my girlfriend Letty, but I don't quite remember, but we were at a Hobby Lobby, and, there are so many people that they're just trying to get their stuff and go, and you're
Yeah.
standing in line, and you
But
gotta
if
go,
you're
"Oh."
a crafter, you cannot be in a hurry. Hobby Lobby people should be the most pleasant people. Crafters are pleasant.
Yes, well, and that was the thing that, it's kind of like, God, now I'm getting my memory mushed, if you said this or if I said this, but, no, I know I was talking.
I'll correct you if I
Maybe
said it.
I
Go
was
ahead.
with
Just
you,
go.
because
Go,
now my
girl. Go.
memory just but I remember, this person saying, "You can't be a crafter and be in a bad mood." Like, because I said something about, "Oh, I bet you get a lot of people." Oh, yeah, because she was spending extra time with me, that was it. And I said, "Boy, I bet people get grumpy when you do this, like you're helping a customer like this." And she 'cause the lines get long, and she's like, "Oh, no, 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 no. When you're a crafter, you can't we don't get negative people in here. Everybody's really excited because 'cause you're crafting. You're being, like." And I'm sure they do get some negative people, but for the most part, that's one of those rare jobs where you're doing the job, but people I think maybe World Market's another place where,
Mhm.
it's just really cool, interesting stuff, and so it vibes people, but grocery store? Like, dollar store, like places where people gotta run in and grab things and, they just they don't have time for the conversation. They're going in and out, and you're literally sitting there. That's where I think the self-checkout lines are a blessing to those individuals that would normally have been ignored. But I also have a negative about those as well. It kind of saves people from being treated like automatons, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's so taking that extra moment to just sit there and acknowledge the humanity that's in front of you, it's like so important.
Well, and it really does change your brain chemistry. It changes your whole day when you decide to focus on positive. When you look for the goodness, when you look for and little children do it all the time. Like, I
Mhm.
don't know if you've ever been in the grocery store or Target or wherever, and, a child sees somebody look really grumpy and they just kinda smile at them or spin around or whatever. Like, I think naturally, as humans, we kinda work our way out of that joy, which is kinda sad.
Well, we're under so much pressure. We're under the gun. We're spending money we don't necessarily want to spend. Where
Exactly.
where when you're crafting, where when you're, buying stuff for the home, like you're excited. But in these other places, you tend to be
Yeah,
like,
it's a need, not a joyous want kinda thing,
I don't wanna buy another freaking hair dryer, It's like I just
ever.
yeah, and it just gets you in that mood, and you're right, when there's kids around, there's that sense of, yeah, they just 'cause they
Well,
can
I
come up
think naturally that's who we are, but life kinda beats it out of us as we get older. But I think that, and what I and it's become easier since I retired to look for the glimmers, honestly, because I'm not in so much of a hurry,
Uh-huh,
and I'm not thinking 3 steps ahead of all the things that I need to take care of after that. I
yeah,
can slow myself down a little bit. Um, and I think that everything else goes more smoothly if you can take a second to slow yourself down like that.
I agree.
Like, be in the moment instead of thinking about, what already happened that got on your nerves, or what else you have to deal with, what else you have to take care, what might happen because of this and this and this and that. So the glimmers are all about right now. What's happening in the moment? How can I make the moment more pleasant?
Okay, so like an example, and my son and I were talking about this because he and have the same kind of outlook on life, and my husband and daughter have the same outlook, and
Which is a different outlook than you guys have.
yeah, we're a bit more upbeat about things, and my daughter is too, but she does not like to be crossed, and so when somebody like cuts you off, or they don't turn when you want them to turn, and like my husband, my daughter, they would get impatient. They would yell things. They would, whereas Brody and I sit there and we just go, huh, wonder what's going on with that person's day, and we just, because we're not going to let that bring our mood down. We're going to just go, wow, it's good that they didn't hit me. Wow, it's good that, I have
Yeah.
the time to be patient, that I'm not in a rush,
Right.
wow, I wonder what's going on with them that they feel like they have to, just be speed demons down the road, whatever it is. It's those glimmers when you see, like the way I'm seeing glimmers, when you see that little bit of light, that little bit of positivity, that little bit of whatever, it just takes you out of that downward trek that you could, because you could just remember we talked about in our last podcast the reticular activating system, right?
Yeah.
And so if you sit there and say, oh, that sucks, that sucks, that sucks, then you keep seeing the things that suck. Where you're talking about the glimmers, when you have those little moments of brightness, it connects to the next moment of brightness and connects to the next. And then the universe goes, oh, you like this? We'll bring you
Let me
more,
give you some more. Yeah, exactly. And it's not habitual for a lot of people, but it can become habitual. So what you want to do is remind yourself, and going through a checkout line, it is a great place to start. Just remind yourself, let me see how I can make this a little more pleasant.
For everyone.
For everyone, yeah, well, for me, but for the poor person who has to check people out, whatever.
Yeah.
The other place that it's good to do that kind of thing is when you're in a restaurant or a bar, or make the server's life a little more pleasant. It's hard work. And so many of us, not me, but so many people, because really I don't,
Mm.
um, are looking for, well, not enough ice in my glass, not enough, like just ridiculous stuff like that. Or so my daughter is serving now, and she was telling me a story about, and she likes to talk about, this is not nice to say, but older people that like elderly, older, not
I was
older
about to
like
say,
us,
you know,
but
we're getting to be those older people.
old people that are crotchety.
Yeah.
And they're like, my pork chop just took 40 minutes. What the heck? Well, it's not the server's fault that the pork chop took 40 minutes. It's the kitchen's fault that that's happening. And then they don't give us a tip that reflects the service. They give a tip that reflects that they had to wait 40 minutes for the pork chop. It's just sad to me that
Mhm.
if you're going out to eat somewhere, that should be a fun experience. That should be a pleasant experience. It should be a pleasant experience for you, the people with you, and the people serving you, and the people around you. Like, make it pleasant.
Yeah,
You have the choice. So looking for the glimmers is a choice.
I agree on that. Like,
And I only want to hang around the people that are looking for the glimmers. And I've really started recently to not try and make those negative people that are looking for the piles of shit instead of the glimmers
mhm.
be a part of my experience. Because before I would try and cheer them up. Oh my gosh, why are you so sad? Why are you go away? I don't have time for you. I would like to hang with the
Yeah,
people that are uplifting.
yeah.
'Cause I definitely want to be uplifting, and if you don't want to be uplifted, then get away from, don't hang in my
Well,
sphere.
and I think that's really hard when you are challenging, when you are one of those people like us that we're looking for that upbeat moment. We're looking for that, and you're with someone who just keeps focused on the negative, or they get impatient because you're taking a moment to humanize a transaction. There's um I have well, I have very little patience, I guess. Like I can't not comment on someone's behavior. Like after we walk out, it's like, you could have taken a moment to be a little nicer. Or if you can't stand there and be nice, why don't you go wait outside?
Right,
It's just
exactly. Well,
because I'm going to still do what I'm going to do and shine
right.
that light because, again, it's especially in the service industry,
Yeah,
especially.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and I mentioned that my daughters were embarrassed by me or whatever when they were younger, but it was that don't draw attention to ourselves. Well, that's what I do. Have you met me?
Hmm.
And I want people to smile when I get done with you. I would like for you to smile. If you weren't smiling when I got done the first when I walked up into this conversation, if you weren't smiling, I hope you are by the time we get done.
Hmm. Exactly. Okay. So here in the South, I'm in the South and Diana's in the
I'm a
center
Yankee
here.
apparently because
Yeah.
I'm
No,
Pennsylvania.
oh,
No,
you're,
that's what my husband's people. Yeah, I'm up north of the Mason-Dixon line. I
yeah.
am
Wow.
I am a Yankee. I am from Maryland, which is a border state.
Uh-huh.
But apparently once you get into Pennsylvania, Yankee all the way. And my husband is from Alabama, so
It's a tough
that's a
one.
big thing. But go ahead.
Yeah.
Here in the South.
Um, and Southerners tend to be friendly, and I grew up in a resort area,
Yeah.
so like super friendly. Like I was taught from the time that I could point a camera that if there's a family trying to get a picture of themselves, it's natural for me to walk up. Like they're not strangers. I just walk up and say, "Hey, would you like me to get that picture of you?"
Yeah.
And so, I've reared my kids the same way, and they are very open. They can be very open and friendly and carry on these conversations and stuff. And my son just had a couple of months ago had gone up to Michigan to visit a friend who's going to Michigan State. And he's brought this up several times how it shocked him because he was just walking down a sidewalk and there was this woman coming up towards him and he said, "Hi, how are you doing, ma'am?" You know, and she just looked at him like he said, the look on her face was just so aghast, so horrified that she had been singled out by him. And I said, "Yeah, I probably am remiss in not telling you the rest of the world doesn't do that." It's like, because I remember being in boarding school and I was in Baltimore, Maryland. And even there, I remember I was catching up with my girlfriends and I was walking past this woman pushing a cart, which I didn't know about, cart ladies back then, and I assume she was homeless. I don't know. But she's coming, towards me and I just do my normal, "Hi, I hope you're having a good day." And she grabbed her cart and held on to it and kind of, went like kind of away from me. And oh my god, like, I was so hurt, wounded, like, I was like, "What did I do? Oh my god, I scared her. Oh my," and it was so hard because all I was doing was glimmering, you know,
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
being my usual self, and, there are so many hurt souls that, like you were saying about your daughter saying, "Don't draw attention,"
Mhm.
people like, where did we start doing that? Where it's like, "Don't draw attention, be small, be, invisible," and that kinda stuff. And in that way, we're being this kind of society where we're like ships passing in the night. We don't really care. Just do the work, shut up, get the work done. Let me get out of here. And that's why I keep using the word humanize. Like I keep looking at this glimmer stuff as, let's humanize each other. Let's notice each other.
Well, and when you say that, I have a good friend who was very involved with there's a group in Baltimore. When you mentioned Baltimore, it reminded me. It's called Be More Caring, and they work with the homeless. And one of the things that she taught me that she learned through working with Be More Caring
Hmm.
is that many people who are homeless become invisible. Like no one uses their name and no one looks them in the eye and they become used to that. It's really sad. So,
Yeah, that makes
this group,
sense.
this Be More Caring group, they, go out and bring them food or they bring them, they help them with necessities that they would need living, on the street or in a tent or they call them bandos in abandoned buildings. Some
Oh,
of the people live in the whatever. Um, But that whole movement, that whole be more caring is tossing kindness like confetti. Like they're hoping, helping get some glimmer into these people's lives. And I
Mhm.
think that the bigger city that you're in, I mean, yes, there's a northern and a southern kind of thing, but even when I lived in Maryland, like people just seemed like they were in such a hurry. Couldn't
Cities,
s-
yeah,
and
cities just like
yeah,
that.
and it's just a rat race kind of thing. When we moved to Pennsylvania, we didn't move to a city, we moved to a smaller town. And I remember it just was mind-boggling how much nicer people were, like, because they took the time for the glimmers.
Mhm. And they
And
took care of each other instead of just themselves.
exactly, exactly.
It's such a huge difference.
Yeah. And like you said, it's a way of living, it's a way of being. Like you raised your kids
Mhm.
the way you were raised. And so many people that live in the cities or farther north or whatever, they're raised by their families who were raised like that it was just not as friendly. And friendly is important.
I'm seeing and, um,
Kindness is important.
I know what kind of videos I wanna include on our blog because inspiration videos,
Uh-huh.
because I think the ones that tear jerk me the most of any videos I watch are the ones where and these guys, they have these followings because they do this kind of stuff where they will find a homeless person and they're like, what can I give you? What do you need? And they'll start off by giving them some food and then they'll say, "Can I get you a room for the night? Can I give you a safe place to stay for the night? Can I give you?" And you just see the gratitude. Now, I'm sure
Mhm.
not every encounter that they have
It's like
is,
that. Yeah.
because everybody has, there's mentally ill people out there. There's people who fear that kind of acknowledgement. Like you said, they feel
Yeah.
safer being invisible. But like, I remember one that I watched, where, okay, I'm not into the whole prayer thing, but, and I thought this was interesting. I wonder if this is true in all of the Chick-fil-A's. Okay, everybody knows Chick-fil-A is religious bent and all that,
Mhm.
and it was this video about this guy who, was offered a free meal, homeless guy. He was offered a free meal, excuse me, by the manager, and the deal is that, as long as you were willing to allow the manager to pray with you, like he would pray for you, and then he
Mhm.
would give you a free meal. Because it's like, I'm not gonna just give you this, this meal. I wanna give you hope. I wanna give you and think in terms of just understand there's a higher power that's watching out that you can reach out for. It doesn't mean that, it has to be a whole religious, whatever, but spiritual, that
Mhm.
that there is more going on here, and let me share a moment of kindness rather than just handing you a meal and getting you out of the way. And
Right.
I loved that. I mean, that was so cool. And then there was another video I saw where this kid was standing out in the freezing cold. He was British, and he was probably 9 years old, and it was towards Christmas, and he had all of these toys of his out that he was selling. And of course, he was a kid. He's underselling all of it and like really cool stuff. And this guy stopped by, who was the one filming it, and he said, so why are you out? It's freezing out here. Why are you out here selling all this stuff? Because he was just kind of random. And the kid's like, I want to earn some money. And he goes, well, earn, money for what? He goes, well, it's Christmas. And my mom, he goes, where's your mom? And he goes, my mom's at work. And he goes, well, so what are you going to do with the money when you sell this stuff? He goes, well, my mom's always buying me these things and I want to buy something for her. So, the gift of the magi kind of thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
he or she was out working hard so she could do Christmas stuff, and here he was selling the stuff he'd gotten from past Christmases that so he could just get something special for his mom.
Uh-huh.
And like, oh my God, just makes me want to tear up because the guy was just like, okay, hold on a second. He goes, how much? Okay, I'll buy something. How much for this? And the kid was totally underselling. He goes, well, how about if I just give you 500 for it instead of $5? And the kid's like, like the kid has no concept of the $500, and he's like, "Well, okay." And he takes it and kind of stuffs it in his pocket, and the whole time I'm going, "Shove it in there, get it in there."
Deeper.
Like it was gonna fall out. It was so funny. But, But it's that kind of glimmer. You could be a glimmer any which way you want. How is it you want to show up? If it's just in the checkout line, for God's sakes, do it. If it's that you see someone like, my husband's always like, the guys who will work for food. And they're like, okay, if you get a pen and you could get a cardboard, whatever to write that on, and you can stand there in the sun, then you're capable of working. And I'm like, he does this. And I'm just like, okay, they got to have a phone. They got to have this. They got to have that. And maybe this is their work. Maybe this is how they figured out that it works for them, or maybe they can't hold a job consistently because of mental health. I'm like, you don't know what the story is. And so if you have the money, give them the money. If you don't, that's okay. But don't
Yeah.
sit here and condemn and judge someone else. You
Well,
know,
and how does that make you feel being that negative? Like how does that help you feel?
yeah, I feel gross. Like, when I hear,
Exactly, but I mean, you feel gross hearing it, seeing it, whatever, but the person who is saying those things
Mhm.
would feel so much better if they turned it around. Even if they didn't have money, if they just rolled down the window and they said, "Hi, I hope you're having a good day,"
Yep.
or whatever. I roll around with bottles of water in my car. And every time I see somebody who's out collecting, I give them a bottle of water.
Wow.
No, and so many people are, well, you're encouraging it. They just want money for drugs. They want this or that or whatever. No, they're standing outside. I'm going to give them a bottle of water.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
I
going to
like
help.
that.
If I can help, I'm going to help. It's no skin off my knees to give somebody a bottle of water. So
Yeah.
why not? And why
You
waste
light
the
it. You're
energy?
lighting up as you say that. Like, I don't know if you realize that. Like,
No.
there's joy that comes out there.
Well, and why waste the energy trying to figure out what their issues are?
Mhm.
That's not none of my concern. But if I can make them feel a little bit better by giving them a bottle of water, then by all means, I'm going to do it.
Yep. That's so cool.
Well, and that's what a glimmer is all about.
Yeah.
Picking up on something that will make you feel better, brighter, whatever. It's the whole
Mhm.
point of our podcast.
Exactly. And I love
Feeling
that.
great by being, feeling better. I mean, like pick something
Mhm.
and then it becomes a habit. Like I said,
Exactly.
start with the checkout, then go to the service people. When you go through a drive-through at McDonald's, can you imagine how much like
Yeah.
trying to work that drive-through thing?
Yeah.
I'm always giving them a big smile and saying, "Hi, how's your day?" or whatever, because it's just a minute that will change their attitude, change the atmosphere, change the day.
And
Toss the kindness, people.
yeah, and you can afford that. You can afford that moment, that time. So, we're gonna move into the weekly wanderlust.
Okay.
Diana, it's Diana's responsibility to come up with the weekly wanderlust that I'm gonna dim this a little bit so that I'm not like blinding people. Um, what is it you want people to integrate this week?
Okay, well, I want them to notice the little things so they can become the big things. So,
Okay.
what I would love every single one of us is going to go through either a drive through or a checkout line or work with a service person this week. I
Okay.
would like you to pick one of those three, whatever they are, and every time you do it, you need to spread a little joy. So here are the ways that I would suggest you do it. You can ask how their day is going. When they say how are you, you can say fabulous. That's what I do all the time and it starts a conversation. Try it, you guys. It's just amazing. Like you'll be like, why wasn't I always doing this? This is kind of fun. If you especially in the service industry, don't go out to eat if you're not going to tip your server, people.
Or if
I'm
you're gonna
really tuned into this because of my daughter. Like she gives excellent service, and sometimes people don't even leave her a tip, and it's like, what on earth? Why? Why?
yeah, and not to base the tip off of the kitchen because the kitchen gets paid hourly,
Right.
so it's
And the
it's
servers
never
don't get paid, and I wish people would understand. They make what, $1.57 an hour, 2.57, something like that an hour. Their money comes from your tips.
Mhm.
Tip the people.
Well,
I
and
find that
going
people who have worked a service job are, maybe over tip all the time just because they get it. But spread the word. Teach your kids, teach your family,
Mhm.
tip
And
the people.
with tipping, it's really important that like there are meals you go out to that are like over $100, and so you're doing say 20% tip, and so you're throwing a 20 down. But I'm telling you, the best feeling is when you have a meal that cost you like $7 to $10 and you throw down a 20.
Oh, exactly.
I mean, how hard is it to do that? And how
And
great it feels to do that, and the
oh,
difference you
yeah.
made for that
For
hour.
that person, it might have made their day.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yep, it's pretty good.
Okay. So you're gonna either tip your people, well, I think you should do all of the things that I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just say something pleasant to someone that checks you out,
Mhm.
through a checks you out.
Ooh,
Ooh,
that's
no,
a good tip.
when you go through a checkout line,
Yeah.
whether it be at the grocery store, Dollar Tree, uh, any kind of food place, wherever someone has to
Mhm.
ring up your purchase, um, just say something nice. Make it
Acknowledge
nice
them,
and
yeah.
acknowledge them, say hi, and say something nice. And I always, not only do I try and tip, but I also, when I get really good service, I find the manager on my way out and I tell them, what great service I had.
Oh, wow.
That's no skin
That's the
off my
extra
knees
points.
either, right? Like, complimenting people makes their day and it makes your day.
Mhm.
Give some compliments.
Yep.
So
Yep,
I've given you all kinds of options. Do one or all.
exactly. And then come over to the Facebook group or comment below and let us know what you did, the difference it made, because we wanna hear about these.
Or
We
if someone does it if you've had an experience where they made your day with
Oh,
a
wow.
glimmer, I would love to hear about that too.
That would be good. That would be really good. Ah, that's cool. I
Yeah.
like that. Very good. Okay, spicy affirmation time.
I don't remember what it was. What is it?
Ready?
Was I supposed to pick it? No, you
Nope.
are.
I will savor the fucking sweetness of life today.
Love that. I will savor the fucking sweetness glimmer of life today. I'm gonna look for all the good in all the things.
Mhm. I love that. That one fits so perfectly for this discussion.
Totally.
Yay. So
And
you
we
guys,
have not made any merchandise yet, but we need to start doing some kind of merch with these spicy affirmations. So I'm gonna get on
we'll get around to it. Have you ever seen those round
that.
to its? They say TUIT. Yeah. We'll get around to it and that'll be part of the merch that we sell. It's taken for us forever to get, on
Okay.
Spotify. So you guys remember to comment below, join us over on Facebook, hit the notifications so you know when there's a new video, subscribe so you know what's going on. Let us, let us know you're out there watching. Share with your friends, please. You can find us on Spotify now and through their syndication, however that works. And or feeds, not syndication. I guess syndication means we've really made it or something, but through their feeds, YouTube or through our Facebook group. We put our video out everywhere for you to find it. Um, and if you go over to the blog, it has concise, like summary of what we just talked about, and it has all the links and it has anything that we feel like would enhance the discussion. All of that will be found there on the blog, which is at kiss.afirewithin.me. But the links are below in the comments. So, yeah, or in the description. So you'll be able to easily go over there and find it. Is that everything?
I think that's it.
We got it.
We got it.
Until next time.
We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.